Ahoy there! To be quite honest with you, we're here on Kodiak. The bus is on the mainland, and I guess the laptop is somewhere between here and the mainland, but anyway, we don't have it. There were a lot of people who've asked a lot of questions, so we thought, let's use this opportunity to do question and answer. So what we did is we took the questions from the comments, and we're going to try to answer some of those now. Now there's a whole bunch of other ones that aren't about the bus. That'll be a separate video because that'd be too long. Jen's going to ask me the questions, and I'm going to give you the answers.
Okay, question number 1. Why don't we bring the bus to Kodiak?
That's a great question, and that's probably the number one question, at least from the people here on Kodiak, because they're all like, Larry, we like the videos, but when are you bringing the bus? There's a couple of reasons why we're not bringing it to Kodiak. Probably the number one reason is that it would be cost prohibitive. To bring a 35-foot bus on the ferry, one way is in the thousands. Then, Kodiak has some paved roads, but not a lot of paved roads. Most of the places we go camping here, about half of them, the bus can't even get to safely. We don't have truly organized campgrounds, so we have a few state park campgrounds, but really all they are is a parking lot. They don't have water, electric, any of that kind of stuff. Bringing the bus out here just doesn't make a lot of sense. Besides getting on and off the ferry, not being a gradual process, which I can tell you, we had a fire truck at work, brand new from Oshkosh. Coming off the ferry tore half the electronics out of it, and it had to sit for quite a while. So getting on and off the ferry isn't the easiest thing in the world for a large vehicle. And then the last thing, of course, is that we're surrounded by salt water. We're on an island in the ocean, and we're not just on the coast. I mean, we're way out in the ocean. If you think about how brackish your water is at the coast, we've got more salt out here. Highly corrosive environment, just not the best place to bring an antique bus. Good question.
Number 2, do we plan on getting a towed, which is a tow-behind vehicle? And if so, what?
Great question. So, we actually have a Jeep Cherokee. That's the Cherokee we dropped off on the mainland, the XJ Cherokee, the old school one. That would make a great towed. Cherokees are one of the most popular tows that there is. Obviously, there are other things that people use. Some of them use those little Fiat 500 cars. Air-cooled Volkswagens are great. There's all kinds of different vehicles that are good. Honda Fit is a good one. Will that be our towed? I don't know. I started building a hitch for it because I couldn't get one shipped here, and I didn't have time to finish it before I brought it to the mainland. The thing is, do we even need a towed? I don't know. If we do need one, Cherokee's high on the list. Quite honestly, I'm trying to talk Jen and Morgan into a motorcycle with a sidecar. They keep talking about the whole weather thing. Anyway, we'll get that figured out.
Well, and we've been talking about we would probably have a towed when we're more full-time. Maybe once you're retired and we travel.
Yeah, once we're going
more.
a longer distance.
Number 3, biggest like and dislike of our bus.
Well, for dislikes, I had to think about that for a while. I do have one. So, yes, I'm a former diesel mechanic, and I'm pretty good at fixing stuff. I can fix anything but a broken heart. But anyway, when we're on Kodiak and the bus is on the mainland, I don't really have the time to be working on it. And I'm at the stage in life now where I could probably afford to pay somebody to fix it, which would be awesome. The only thing is, finding someone who knows how to work on that vintage of bus has proven to be extremely difficult. What they teach in trade school and diesel school, they don't teach anything about mechanical diesels anymore. Modern diesel engines, everything is pretty much disposable. It's just unplug something and plug something in. To find a craftsman who knows how to work on an old mechanical diesel, which ironically, yeah, I do. I maintain our mechanical diesels here, has proven difficult. Biggest like, I mean, you've seen it, right? Kind of everything. Or how about this one? It's the one my wife likes. Okay.
Question number 4, what kind of mileage does the bus get?
That's a pretty easy answer. 7.5 miles to the gallon, and that's with one of our fuel lines a little bit loose, which has since been repaired. I'll update that if it winds up being any better, but I'd say 7.5 has been the worst mileage we've had so far. Except for when I accidentally put biodiesel in there in Duluth, Minnesota, then it plummeted, but that doesn't count, and I don't think I have to worry about biodiesel here in Alaska.
Wanderlodge engines, turbo versus non-turbo.
Turbo versus non-turbo? Yes, the turbo is faster, more powerful, probably gets better economy. The turbo's great. Now, that said, is a non-turbo bad? I'd say it's not bad. My buddy Russ has a non-turbo. The folks over at KYD have a non-turbo. They do get you where you want to go. Plus, the nice thing about the non-turbo is you can drive it as hard as you can drive it, and you don't have to worry about blowing it up like you do with the turbo. The turbo is not idiot-proof, so I have to pay attention to exhaust gas temperature, turbo pressure, things like that. Is the turbo the best? I'd say probably. Now, that's for the forward control. All the other Wanderlodges, they have the engine in the back. And then you've got the Detroit two-stroke diesel engines, which I personally love, particularly when they're mechanical. Once they get into the D-deck, I don't care for that as much. And then obviously the modern four-stroke engines like the Detroit Series 60 or the Cummins. Awesome engines all. And of course those, somebody can fix.
Question number 6. How did the bus hold up during our 2020 Canada trip?
Okay, that's a great question. So the bus itself, I'd say it held up fantastic. As far as damage goes, really the only damage we took was a rock through one of the driving lights, which took out the screen, and then the glass screen on the front. And we did get a few rock chips in the windshield, which later on turned into cracks. But that's to be expected in Alaska. As a matter of fact, in Alaska, a broken windshield, they call that an Alaska windshield. Other than that, the bus held up fantastically well. And I got to tell you, I drove through some places it probably shouldn't have gone. I don't know if we actually caught air or not on a couple of those frost heaves, but if we didn't, we came pretty close, and it took it like a champ.
Question number 7. What was our backup plan if the bus broke on our way to Alaska?
We didn't have any great backup plans. There were 2 things that we had to consider. One, getting across the border in the first place. This was, COVID was still a thing, and as it still is now. And the whole getting across the border piece, were they even going to let us into Canada in the first place? If we weren't allowed to cross into Canada, we were going to be in North Dakota. Plenty of barns and storages in North Dakota. We'd find a storage, fly home, and then just fly back and get it whenever we could. The second thing we had to deal with was, once we got into Canada, what happened if we broke down? So towing a bus is a little different than towing a car. So just to hedge our bets, I actually got 3 different roadside assistance plans. I got Good Sam, FMCA, Family Motor Coach Association, and State Farm. So I had 3 different roadside assistance plans. The other concern obviously is if you have cell phone service and all those other things, but you can only do so much. Then the hope was we get it towed to a truck shop somewhere and they'd fix whatever broke. Now, what if they couldn't fix it in a timely fashion? Because I do have a job and I was on vacation to do this. If they weren't able to fix it in a timely fashion, plan B for in Canada was we'd find storage in Canada, fly out of Canada as long as they let us in a Canadian airport for the COVID thing and whatever, and then just fly back down there and pick it up whenever we could.
Okay, last and final question, number 8. Do we ever plan to take the bus back down to the lower 48?
Yes. Well, we like to take it down to the lesser 48, you mean? Anyway, yeah, we're going to take it down there. We'd love nothing more than to go to a couple of these Wanderlodge meets to meet all the other people who are nuts enough to have a Wanderlodge. But besides that, obviously there's a lot to see. The lower 48 itself, I don't have a ton of interest in. I have a lot more interest in the Yukon, Northern Territory, and Canada. However, yes, we'll go down there every once in a while, and who knows, we'll get to meet some of you guys. So, I know this wasn't what you were looking for, wasn't really what we were looking for, but seemed like as good a time as any to answer some of those questions. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll be happy to respond to them. Otherwise, just remember, take care of yourself, take care of the ones you love, and be kind. See you next week.
Or MPG?
You wanna try a third time?
What am I trying to say?
Question number 4.
Except for
Except for what? Oh, yeah.
2020 or I shouldn't say the first question. Cut that out. Oh my word. Question